Welcome to Shrine Review, week of October 19th, 2022. This week's shrine includes 4 survivors, Iron Will, and Life, while killers can purchase a Nurse's Calling and save the best for last. As always, I will be covering these perks as if they're tier 3, due to tier 3 perks being what you will always use. Iron Will is found on Jake Park, who comes base game for all platforms. Also carries the perks Saboteur and Calm Spirit. Iron Will itself reduces grunts of pain while injured to 75% and doesn't work if applied with the exhaustion effect. The perk is pretty good for those that like a stealthier approach, but if you're more into chases or the mandatory gen jockey, you might want to look elsewhere instead of playing as James Bond. There's also the benefit of Jake being granted to everyone for free, so you can save your shards for next week and prestige Jake once or twice to unlock Iron Will on your main survivor of choice. Life is found on Vang Min, who comes base game for all versions except PC players. Why behavior still not made her free for PC, I have no idea, even though Switch came out with a bunch of free characters all the way up to Spirit. Life grants you 150% increase of speed for a maximum of 3 seconds after vaulting a pallet or window, granting you exhaustion for 40 seconds. Life is a pretty solid exhaustion choice, letting you quickly escape from the killer during a chase and letting you reach a safer area if the killer decides to pursue you. Also has excellent synergy with perks such as Dance With Me, which hides scratch marks after doing a fast action, and Quick and Quiet, which mutes the noise of fast actions. Perfect for getaways. Now, just like Jake, Fang is also available to Prestige 1 for Technician and Alert on top of Life. But still, Life is worth picking up from this week's shrine. Which brings me on to the killer perks. A Nurse's Calling is found on, well, this might be crazy to some, the Nurse, who is another character free on all platforms, which seems to be a trend with the shrines recently. Nurse's Calling lets you see the auras of all survivors currently being healed within 28 meters of yourself, which frankly with Leon moaning that loud, it's hard not to know their exact location anyways. But this does make it a tad bit easier for newer players. The problem with Nurses arises in the fact it is only 28 meters, with most killers having a tear radius of 32, and without perks or add-ons, healing only takes about 16 seconds. So by the time you approach them, they're already done healing, or they're already gone. And I don't know if it's a bug or intentional due to the perk being distance and not time-based, Lethal does not grant you 2 extra seconds of seeing their aura once they're done healing. The perk is pretty good if you're a stealth killer, but for killers like Huntress or Wesker with a lullaby and tear radius of 40 meters, you might want to look elsewhere for a build that fits you. The last perk of the shrine is Save the Best for Last, otherwise known as Stabiffle. It's found on Michael Myers, who, due to being licensed, you have to buy, making this perk a must grab now for anyone not wanting to spend money. Stabiffle grants you 1 token per basic attack made on any survivor that is not the Obsession, up to a maximum of 8 tokens. Each token reduces the cooldown of your basic attacks by 5%, letting you have a 40% smaller cooldown at max stacks. However, if you hit your Obsession, you will lose 2 tokens. In the worst case scenario, you will lose 4 tokens each time you chase your Obsession. The perk is amazing, with the still quite recent killer buff letting you stop the trade at hook unhooks completely at 8 stacks, giving you 2 hooks instead, and letting killers you can down with M2s keep their stacks during the match for faster gameplay. The perk is quite honestly a must grab right now for the majority of killers, and just feels nice to use in the first place. I'm quite surprised this perk is not more in the meta with stuff such as Eruption, but when that perk grants you 25 seconds of survivors not being able to do gens, I'm not that surprised.